one podcast in the world. I'm here with Ashia, of course, and a very special guest, the Ultimate Fighter 31st win at Kirk. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you for coming on. It's been great having you on. We haven't done a show in like 6 months, and to have you on the show after a 6 month period, it's awesome, man. Thank you for joining us so much. It's a pleasure to have you on.
Yeah,
Thank
not
you.
a problem, man.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me on.
How's your day been, man? How's life? What are you doing at the moment?
Man, day's been good. Life's been good. So I'll just hang out at my house normally throughout the day, man. It's been raining. We got some rain for the last couple of days because I can't really get out there and do no yard work. But I like to try to keep my yard work up because I'm never here. We're always on the road. I'm always gone. Um, Me and my wife, we run two gyms. So I mean, every evening I have gym class. Like this tonight, I got sparring class to go to. But no, man, I just hang out throughout the day and wait for gym time at night.
Yeah, oh man, is it a sparring night? Are you guys sparring today?
It is sparring night. Every Friday we spar.
So we're gonna see some broken noses tonight, huh?
No, I don't think so. Um, I mean, we always spar hard, but I feel like me and my crew, we spar safely, right? So we give each other some work, but we're not going in there to hurt anybody.
Yeah, you guys are responsible. Not like unlike my team. Look, I'm currently in a fight camp. I've got a fight in 12 days.
Oh well.
My God, my fucking teammates are a bunch of fucking idiots, man. I love them. Like they're like my brothers. Oh, but oh my God, like you shoot for a takedown, they don't care. They're kneeing you in the face. The knee is coming. I took like 3 knees right here, and I previously broke my nose in my last fight. Every time I don't know. Have you ever broken your nose? I mean, you've been fighting since 2008. I mean, how many
Yeah.
times have you broken your nose?
Only one that I can think of. My nose is actually still crooked. Like it's smashed to the right a little bit.
Yeah,
But
mine
I
too.
think that was my fourth pro fight. So it's been a while. I mean, I've had some
Yeah.
banged up noses and stuff like that, but as far as for sure being broken, not since my fourth fight.
Have you ever had your nose broken in an amateur fight?
Nope.
Mine broke on my like. I've got 10 amateur fights now. On my last fight, it broke. The fucking idiot landed a fucking illegal knee. Like, could you believe that? And they
Yeah,
give him the win.
happens a lot.
Fucking win, man. They give him the fucking win. I
Oh
was like,
wow.
yeah, they give him the fucking win. The commission, they didn't give a shit. They're like, your nose is broken, you're bleeding. We don't care if it's illegal or not. We're not gonna let you fight. And he wins. I'm like, what the fuck?
Hmm.
Yeah,
Interesting.
fucking idiots, man. Well, yeah, enough about me. Let's talk about you. So you won the Ultimate Fighter season 31. How was it? How was the Ultimate Fighter? How was the vibe in there?
Yeah, no, man, it was fun. I really thought that it was a really cool experience. Had a really good time. Met a lot of really good people. One of the most challenging things that I've ever had to go through in my life. Being away from my family and my wife, my kids, leaving my gyms behind, my businesses to go chase that dream. It was tough, but it was a good time, man. Sometimes I still miss it.
Yeah, I mean it's in the name, tough Ultimate Fighter, tough. It is tough, but it's are you guys isolated fully? Like we see that you guys are not allowed to use your phones, or but do you guys like sneak phones in there like that? Try to sneak a phone, like a
Nothing.
flip phone, call the family and that.
Nope, nothing. They take everything, man. They go through your stuff. They take everything because you can't even have um, clothes with certain logos. So they literally come to your room, go through everything you're trying to take, and you have to leave your bag there. And they say, all right, well, we're just going to send somebody up to get your bags, and they'll be at the house. And then you load up in the
Wow.
van. They bring you to the Apex, strap your microphones on, and the show begins.
So like let's are you like did they search your stuff like every day to so look if you have drugs on you like cocaine and stuff like they go
No,
through
no,
your bags every day. They don't do that.
no. I don't. Yeah, they're not that strict on it. But I would imagine if you were caught with something like that, if you smuggled, let's say if you smuggled something into the house, a phone or something like that, and you were caught, I'm sure I'm sure they would kick you off the show. So you'd probably
Yeah,
go home. So
yeah,
it really isn't worth it, unless you're just there to be a clown on the show and get kicked off like we've seen a lot of people do in the past.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
we had some legit guys on our show. Everybody was there to win a contract.
Yeah, man. The Ultimate Fighter. I have to be honest with you. After the after season 31, I I didn't watch this season. Did you watch this season? I didn't like it, man. I
I
don't. I just
Yeah, I didn't really get into it a whole bunch. I watched an episode here and there, but and I mean, don't get me wrong, the way they're going with the show, it's different than your previous Ultimate Fighters, right? Because they're not
yeah,
showing anything really in the house. The
yeah,
show begins. You might show a scene in the house, and then they show them training, each guy training, then each guy weigh in, and then the end of the show, the guys fight. Um, I mean,
Yeah.
that's cool. If that's what the show is going to be about, that's cool. But I think one of the biggest thing everybody's missing from the old Ultimate Fighters is some of the drama stuff inside the house. Sometimes somebody want to see more stuff that happened inside the house. And I feel like for my season, they played some of the stuff that happened inside the house. There were some arguments and stuff like that.
yeah,
But man, they could have made our season so much better because there was a lot of stuff that went on in the house that I thought if they put it on the show would have really made a good show. So they left a lot of stuff out, which kind of sucks, but I
yeah.
think that's just the direction. But they're on ESPN, so they can't have all
Oh,
the they don't want to give the MMA a bad look, I guess. That's what I think. Being on ESPN, they got to keep it fairly
Yeah.
clean. Can't have people getting drunk and but
I mean, that's the fun. I mean, seeing people drunk and cursing at each other. That's the fun thing. You got 10, 12 people in there, and they're all men, they're all fighters, and all alpha males. You gotta see them get into each other's face. Like you see in the wild, you see two wolves get at it, two alpha males. They want to rule their kingdom, and you cut that. I mean, this is ESPN. Since the UFC signed with ESPN, I mean, I mean, you've seen the pay-per-views, right? They don't even play
yep.
the old intro, "Face the Pain." I mean, that was classic, man, and they removed it. I was like, "What the fuck? That's the classic. That's classic UFC, and you're taking that culture away from us." I mean, I haven't watched that. I haven't watched the Ultimate Fighter this season. And talking about cutting the show, what was the moment that you thought that was gonna get cut? Like something that was really bad that happened but never made it outside the spectrum.
Um, I'm not gonna say that there were some really bad things that happened, but I mean there were some things like and they did they would show Conor McGregor coming over to the house, but there was one night Conor came over to the house and he just got freaking tore up drunk, man. And then he lights a joint and he's trying to pass the joint around, and the producers are freaking out a little bit there because I don't think you can be smoking in the house.
Yeah.
So, but they never showed that. There was a time where, and there was some funny stuff that happened. There's a lot of stuff, and everybody talks about like Brad Katona on that season. Nobody really liked Brad Katona, and
Yeah. Yeah.
so there was a lot of times. Some of the guys would play some pranks on Brad. Like for example, he they stole his match. So some of the mattresses were like Tempur-Pedic mattresses, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
they went and stole Bracatona's mattress and gave him another mattress. And he Brad came downstairs and he was first person he looked at was Jason Knight. He said,
Oh
"Jason,
fuck.
did you steal my mattress?" And everybody's like, "No, we didn't take your mattress. I'm not
Man.
accusing you. I'm just asking you, did you take my mattress?" Like, "Oh man, I didn't take a mattress."
But
So I
who
mean,
took
that was
it,
just a
man?
funny moment. You know, um,
Yeah.
there was a moment where I got cut on my eyebrow in the Lee
Yeah.
Hammond fight, and they glued it.
Yeah.
They didn't stitch it, glued it. And man, like it was a couple of days, and I kept messing with the glue, and I guess I was peeling the glue off. And I mean, if you notice, if you go back and watch the show, there's some scenes
Yeah,
where I don't have it, or I only have like a half of an eyebrow because I didn't
yeah,
realize I was just peeling my complete eyebrow off.
yeah, man. I mean,
And
it's a glue, man. It's gonna stick to your skin, man. Why
yeah,
would you do
well,
that?
and but I don't feel like I still feel it, and I'm like, I'm just messing with it. We're playing cards, and
Yeah.
man, I finally just rip it off. And Jason Knight looks up and he said, "Holy shit, you ripped off your eyebrow!" And he starts calling everybody downstairs to come look at my eyebrow. That would have been something
Man.
that could have made it on the show.
I mean,
And
why
one of the
would they
biggest
call
things,
it that? Why would they
what
call
is
it
it?
that? I mean,
I
why
don't
would
know.
they call it that? It's just a bit of a blood. I mean, you watch UFC, the guy, like I think it was 2013, was it? The guy had a big cut. Joe Rogan called it a goat's vagina. It was that big. I mean, do you remember that? It was like
Yeah,
this big. It was this thick, and it was this long. I was like, what the fuck is that? And you cut that shit. I mean, that's the fun. That's the fun about fighting. That's why I do it. When I was hurt, when I broke my nose, I was like, let me fight. I'm fired up now. I've got 2 more rounds. I'm gonna win. Just let me fight. I was like, no, you're broken your nose. You're an amateur. We cannot let you continue. I was like, fuck you guys. Seriously, that's what I said. I had a headgear on. I threw my headgear to the ground. I was like, fuck you guys. I'm not fighting here again. They were like, yeah, fuck off. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna fuck off. Fuck all of you. I mean, you have to let a fighter fight, man. I mean, I'm not claiming to be, you know, big Master John Jones type of fighter, but I'm fired up. I want to fight, and you get a cut and they stop it. It's bullshit, man. It's really bullshit. What do you think about the cuts and the doctor stoppages? What do you think about those?
I mean, I think it is fine line, right? If a guy's just got a cut, I mean, I say you let him fight now. If you got one of those cuts to where your freaking eyelid is hanging off,
Yeah,
yeah, maybe that needs to be stopped. But I think sometimes cuts make the fight, man. When the guys get bloody, that's a war.
that's a war,
So,
man.
I've had some cuts in a fight before, nothing like super bad, but I mean, one of my worst cuts was straight down my forehead here, by an elbow, and I
That's
mean, it
bad.
bled pretty good, but never in jeopardy of getting the fight stopped.
It's a bad feeling. What do you feel when you get a cut during the fight?
Oh, it motivates me. I like seeing the blood. I like because when you see the blood, you're like, okay, yeah, now I'm in a fight. Like this is a war.
Yeah.
This is what you dream of being in. That bloody war. So whenever I see blood, I mean, I know we're putting on a show.
Yeah, man. That's the whole thing about fighting. And then you got ESPN cutting that from the Ultimate Fighter and stuff. And enough about ESPN. I fucking hate ESPN. So you've been fighting since 23rd of August 2008. I was 4 years old back then. How does it feel to be fighting for this long? I mean, for 20 years now. Jesus, we're in 2024. Time's going
Yeah, man.
that fast. Yeah, huh?
Yeah, but a lot of times I never even think about it. But when I do think about it, I go back. I'm like, geez, man, I've been fighting for a long ass time. Like I've got, with my amateur record and everything too, I've got 40 something fights.
Yeah, man.
Um, so yeah, man, it's been a long time. I look at it as I'm the guy that just never quit, right? We run into that today. Like I'm a coach. I got a lot of amateur fighters I coach. I got some professionals, and then I see guys that were fighting years ago that I might see around at a local show, but they ain't fought in 10 years. And I'm like, it sucks. Those are the guys that quit. It's
Yeah,
and
man.
they may come back and fight later on, but they're not going to make it to the
Yeah.
UFC that way. I feel like I'm one of the guys that just never quit, no matter what, whether it's a win or it's a loss. I still always look forward and wanted to get another fight scheduled for, the next fight. I always look forward to the next fight. Never really took time off and said, I'm just not going to fight for a year. No, always ready to fight.
And that's why people love fighters like you. You're always ready. They call you,
Yeah.
hey, this guy pulled out. Would you like to step in? And you say yes. That's who you are. I mean, that's why people love you, man. And you got a lot of fans, especially down in Louisiana. I mean, so you just fought and you had a win. Also had won the Ultimate Fighter. First of all, how was it? How does it feel to win the Ultimate Fighter, man?
Um, it's kind of surreal because I mean that's a show that made the UFC what the UFC is today.
Yeah.
That's a show that's been around for a long time. A lot of good shows, a lot of champions off the show, a lot of great fighters off of the show. But never thought, first off, because I actually tried out for a season back in like 2012 and I didn't make it. Or they didn't select me to be on the show. So I was one of the guys that tried out previously. So I never thought that I was going to be on the show. But once I was on there and I had a chance to win it, I'm like, man, what if I win this damn show? And then I'm an Ultimate Fighter winner. Like, how huge would that be?
Yeah.
And
Definitely, because I'm a Contender Series winner too. I won the Contender
yeah,
Series. So I'm like, man,
yeah,
has
man.
anybody ever won both? You know? So, but no, man, it's amazing. It's an amazing feeling. It's an amazing accomplishment. I feel like my name is in the history books for the UFC forever.
It
So,
is, man. It is. I mean,
Yeah.
it was a historic season. McGregor was losing left and right, left and right. And how did you feel? Did you guys see him in this show, like in the house, and you guys taunt him, "Hey, we're winning fights, you're losing"? Did you guys do that?
no, not really, because the way the fights work, right? So on the show, they play a fight a week, but a lot of the fights all happen in one day. There was like 3 different days throughout the 6 weeks of the show that you would actually fight on. But the way they break the show down, they only play one a week.
Yeah, one
And
a
they
week.
did. They actually played the fights in order how they happened, whether you did 3 fights on the first day or the first week, and then
Yeah.
4 fights on the 2 weeks after. So because we went into the show, we made the fight picks. Everybody knew who they were fighting. And then you had 1 week to prepare for the first 4 fights. So the first 4 guys that were fighting had 1 week. I was the second week, so I had an additional 2 weeks. And that's how they did those.
Uh, Quick question about McGregor. I mean, have you seen him promote his whiskey all the time? Did he make you guys drink his? Hey, try it. It's good. Did he make you guys do that? I mean, he gave you the Irish stew with the Guinness and stuff, but did he do that with the proper 12?
So they had countless bottle of proper 12 around the house, countless cans of Irish Forge Stout. I mean, all of his protein and nutrition stuff that he come out with, his new title stuff for
Yeah.
like your muscles. So anything you wanted that he had it stocked in the house. Now I don't think he made anybody try stuff, but first off, I'm not a whiskey drinker and I don't like whiskey, so I have
Good.
not tried the proper 12. But I did try his Irish Forge Stout, and I didn't like it. And then he did the stew with the stout, and he talked about he put like 13 cans. That junk tastes like straight beer, and I love beer, but not that beer. So it was kind of rough. So I'm not gonna say he made anybody drink it, but it was all there free, so everybody wanted to drink it,
Yeah, man. I
except for
mean,
me. I didn't.
yeah. I mean, I'm an American. I drink Budweiser, not that Irish shit. Was that your reaction to that stuff?
Yeah, kinda. Which I'm down to try anything, but I'm not a dark beer drinker either. I don't really like the dark beers, and that's almost like drinking straight chocolate. It's so dark and thick. Just not for me.
Yeah.
But I did, and I'm not even gonna say I'm not really a Conor McGregor fan. I just wanted to have it, and I wanted a souvenir from the show. I did get him to sign 2 of his bottles of proper 12, so I can put them up. So I got 2 signed bottles of proper 12
I mean, you see McGregor, and you gotta have something for me. It's just a
for sure.
memory. Yeah, of course. So, um, next fight. You had a great fight last time. You won by decision. Is there anyone you want to call out?
Um, Not really, man. I mean, there's just so many fighters, and I don't feel like, of course, there was fighters like, of course, I would want to fight Patty, Patty Pimblett. That was the fight that I really wanted, and I shot my shot after I won the Ultimate Fighter for that.
Yeah, I
You
remember
know,
that.
didn't get it. I mean, not a big deal. Whatever. I've always wanted to fight Trevor Peak. He's actually fighting this weekend, and
Yeah,
he's
man,
fighting
Yeah.
I
another
remember that.
kid. He's fighting a kid that Giannis
Yeah,
Asmus or something like that. That
yeah,
kid actually beat one of my teammates for PFL that I cornered him for. So I'm familiar with that kid too. So I wouldn't mind fighting a winner or loser for that fight. I mean, I don't care. I'll fight anybody. But you know, I thought about somebody like Charlie Campbell. That seems like a good stylistic fight for
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. There's so many fights. Of course, I would like to get some of the goats like Jim Miller, Joe Lozon, some guys like that who are older. Also, I think that would all be great fights.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man, you just said those names, and before I came onto the show, I was like, what happens if Kurt wants to fight all of these names? And you just said them all. I mean, you you've picked great opponents. If you fought Trevor Peak, I mean Trevor Peak, have you seen him? You've seen him fight, right? Like people love him.
For sure.
Yeah.
It's gonna be great for you. People, a lot more people are gonna see you now, tune in to see you fight. And if you fight that guy, I mean, you got history. My teammates, so I'm gonna get revenge. You
Yep.
fight Jim Miller, it's a legend. I'm a legend. I want to fight him. Joe Lozon as well. I mean, great picks, man. So I mean, I've been talking a lot. My friend, my little brother over there,
Yeah.
he wants to talk to you. He's a big fan of you. He
Yeah.
wants to talk to you a lot. Yeah, go on, Ollie. I'm gonna sit down and
Um,
enjoy.
well, what kind of made you get into MMA? Was there a certain fighter or was it just a joy of fighting?
Not really. I think it was just I always enjoyed fighting, and it didn't matter what it was. It could have been any show on TV. If it had to do with fighting, if it was the Power Rangers, I was watching it.
Yeah.
Just because I love fighting. I love all the fighting movies. I love all the Jean-Claude Van Damme movies, Chuck
Yeah.
Norris, Steven Seagal movies. I watch them all. I was a big fan growing up, and then I kind of got into boxing.
Yeah.
Right around the Mike Tyson and Evander Holyfield time, and
Yeah.
I was a big Holyfield fan. So, and then I wanted to be a boxer. And then here come MMA, and my parents, they kind of got into MMA. They were renting, which you guys probably don't even know what Blockbuster is, but they were renting the VHS videos from Blockbuster because they wasn't on live TV. They wasn't on really on pay-per-view. So I started
Yeah.
watching it, and man, I'm like, man, maybe one day. And then I graduated high school, and I heard that some of the guys that I graduated with were doing some cage fights. And at this time, you don't really know the difference between the UFC or anything like that. This is before, or right after the Ultimate Fighter, maybe. I don't know. But it was way back then. And I heard that they were fighting. I'm like, man, well, if they can do it, I can do it. And one day I was working, and I pulled up to a job, and I look over and I see Gracie Baja Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. And I'm like, I'm going to go check that out. And I walked through the door and never left.
Yeah, that's good. So it leads me on to another question. Do you see yourself doing a boxing fight in the future?
So this is a true story. I tried to do a boxing fight next month, just because the UFC hasn't given me another fight yet.
Yeah.
And my coach is putting on like a boxing show. And he was like,
Yeah.
man, what if we can get you just a boxing exhibition? But I hit my managers up and they said, no way. So I'm like, damn. All right. But yeah, no,
Yeah.
I've always wanted to do a boxing fight, man. And you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe not, might not be able to beat pro boxers, right? Because I don't just train boxing, but give me another MMA guy to box, and I think I'll do well. I think I got some good boxing for MMA, and I think I got some of the best pure boxing in the UFC. So, yeah, it would be fun.
So I had a question. You just excuse
Okay.
me, Ollie, but you said MMA guys in boxing. I mean, Jorge Masvidal and Nate Diaz just fought. Would you like to fight any of those guys in boxing?
Oh, 100%. That would be great. And I'm not saying they can't box.
Yeah.
They just, and it's the same thing. Like everybody talk about Jake Paul. Jake Paul's beating all these guys, and he's not even like, or he hasn't been training boxing like real boxers. Like he's been training boxing for the last 10 years or so. So he's becoming a boxer, but that's why he's beating all these guys.
Yeah.
Because he is just solely boxing. But real boxers have been boxing since they were like 4 years old, like the Lomachenko's, the Devin Haney's, Floyd Mayweather. Like those type of boxers, MMA guys ain't gonna beat.
Yeah,
there's
man.
just I don't see it happening.
I mean, we had McGregor back in 2016, was 17, was it 18, I think. He fought Mayweather. What happened? Knocked down round 10. I mean, And you
And,
talked
and
about Jake
Mayweather
Paul.
carried him.
Yeah.
What's that?
You talked about Jake Paul. I mean, I don't really respect Jake Paul as a boxer. I mean, the only time he fought a real boxer, Tommy Fury, I mean, he lost. What happened? He lost. That's why he's picking guys like Mike Perry, who are smaller than him, or like Anderson Silva, fucking Ben Askren. Ben Askren is not even a good striker. I feel like I can beat Ben Askren in a striking match. No disrespect to Ben, but I feel like I can beat him in a kickboxing fight. But he's fighting wrestlers in boxing, old people in
Yeah.
boxing. I mean, do you
Mhm.
respect his resume as a fighter?
I mean, I think he's doing it right? Because you see a lot of these boxers, they got 100 amateur fights coming up. So they get that experience. And I think that's kind of what Jake Paul's doing. He's getting his experience through these MMA guys because they're gonna show up, they're gonna box, they're gonna try to box, and he's gonna get a win. So he's
Yeah.
growing his record. So he's doing some things right. And even some of the last couple, he's fought a couple supposedly pure boxers, and he's knocking them out in the first
Yeah.
round. But he's got a good thing going because he's picking the guys that he knows he matches up well. Obviously, Jake Paul's big. Obviously, he can box a little bit, and he hits pretty damn hard. So, but me personally, like he's talking about like he's working his way up to Canelo, man.
Yeah,
That's
no way.
you don't want
Not
to do
gonna
that
happen. You don't
No
want to
because
fight
that's
chance.
just a
Canelo.
different monster. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
once again, like um, really, really surprised me when Francis Ngannou went to the distance with Tyson Fury because I
Yeah.
thought
Yeah.
Tyson
Yeah.
Fury was going to plant him. But then it's like you never know what goes on behind the scenes. You never know if Tyson Fury just said, "Yeah, man, I'm going to carry him for a few. We got to give a show. So let me carry
Yeah.
him for a few rounds." And then maybe he got clipped and he's like, "Fuck, well, now I got to box a little bit. I got to come back and win this fight because I might be down on scorecards." But then you turn
Yeah.
around, you see what Anthony Joshua does to Francis
Yeah.
Ngannou. He was
Yeah.
not playing around, and that's how it goes.
Yeah, man.
But Jake Paul, I think
Yeah.
he's doing it what he has to do right. But I don't think he's never going to be a boxing world champion. I don't think he.
No,
Yeah.
not gonna happen. I mean, you mentioned Ngannou and Fury. Who did you think won that fight? I actually had it for Ngannou, believe it or not.
Yeah, Sam.
I actually had it for Fury because I thought that Fury outboxed Francis Ngannou, right? And that's what it is. Boxing is going to be scored different than like an actual fight. So
Yeah.
I thought that Fury lost a couple rounds, especially being knocked down. Of course, that's going to
Yeah.
be a 10-8 round, so that's going to set you
Yeah.
back a good bit. But I thought that Tyson Fury outboxed Ngannou, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. But Ali, can you continue with your questions?
Yeah. Do you think the Conor McGregor versus Chandler fight happens?
At this point, man, it's so up in the air. I hope it does. I still think it will because
Yeah.
why else has you know Mike Chandler held out for so long
Yeah.
if he wasn't like guaranteed to fight Conor? But at the moment, man, you just never know. I'm still giving up. I'm still giving hope because I feel like that's going to come Ultimate Fighter 31.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I hope it happens.
Yeah, me
Do you
too.
have any predictions for that fight?
Well, man, I'm gonna ride Team Chandler all the way. I think Mike has a style to beat Conor as
Yeah.
long as he doesn't try to play Conor's game.
Yeah.
Mike's got to mix it up a little bit,
Yeah,
but I
mix it
think
up.
I think he can win.
If he uses his fight IQ, I mean, you've seen him win the first round, and then all of a sudden he gets knocked out. He gets choked. He gets like that's what that's Michael Chandler's issue. Like he doesn't use his brain. I mean, I'm not criticizing him. He's a great fighter. I'm a big fan of Chandler. But when the time comes to use your brain, he just tries to bull rush
Yeah.
people and either gets choked or dropped and loses the decision. That's if he plays it smart, wrestles, try to gas him out, maybe he can get it done. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
I don't think Connor's gonna fight though.
yeah, and you might be right. Conor
Yeah.
may
He's not
fight
gonna
again.
fight.
It's irrelevant, man.
I mean, they can tell him, hey, Connor, you have to fight, you have to fight. Well, as long as he doesn't step in the cage, he's not fighting, man. He can say, yeah, I'll fight early next year, but he won't show up. That's what he does.
Yeah.
I mean, we love McGregor, but I don't know what's happening with him. So we got 7 minutes left, and I wanted to ask you I wanted to ask you for advice. I mean, I've got a fight coming up. I want to ask you for advice first. How do you go through the weight cut process? My buddy knows here. I've been dealing with a bad weight cut this camp.
Yeah.
Like I cannot lose this weight. Like I've been eating a lot less, running a lot more, training a lot more, and I cannot lose this weight, man. I have to lose 8 pounds in 12 days, and I cannot fucking do it, man. At all. Like it's not even going down half a pound. Like, what should I do in that situation? Like, what would you do if you
But
were stuck like that?
like I think it always starts with a good diet, right? You have to have a good diet. You gotta the way I call it is prepping my body for a weight cut. Because you're gonna diet off a lot of weight and then you're gonna
Yeah.
actually get into a sauna and sweat out the water weight for your to finish off your cut. Like you're saying you gotta cut 8 pounds. So leading up, let's just say it's fight week, right? You got to start eating meals with no sodium because your body's going to want to release all of that water if it's not getting sodium in. That sodium will make your body retain the water. So it always starts with a good diet, man. Grilled fish, grilled chicken, good veggies, no salt. I do a lot of not conditioning, but like a lot of mitt work with a sweater and stuff during fight week. And then I'll do a little sauna set for about 15, 20 minutes. And I'll repeat that for a couple of days until we get to weigh-ins. And then maybe I got between 3 and 5 pounds. And I'll just get in a sauna. And my thing, I like to do 20 minutes in, 5 minutes out. 15
Yeah.
minutes in, 5 minutes out. 10 minutes in, 5 minutes out. And once I go all through that, most of the time I'm on weight and I don't have to do anything else.
Thank you for the advice, man. I mean, I don't know what it is with my body. Like I lose maybe like half a pound, and then I'm
Mm-hmm.
on scale, I'm like 195 and a half. Let's say I'm 195 and a half, and I drink a glass of water, I'm 198, 199. Like I don't even know what happens. Why is that? Like it's so frustrating, man. Like I'm 195 and a half. I drink a glass of water, I'm 198. Like what?
Now, I will say this one thing you got to realize, right, is the weight of your food and your liquids that you drink. Um, so, for example, a bottle of water is 16 ounces. That is 1 pound. So, if I weigh it at 155 pounds even, and I drink that bottle of water, I should be at 156 pounds even.
Yeah.
Um, so that might be something good to get, maybe a food scale. Measure your food out because I know you say you're eating small portions, stuff like that. Make sure you're eating the right
Yeah.
foods in the small portions. Weight because a lot of guys will weigh their food with a food scale, and then and it's always good to drink your water. And I don't know if you ever heard of water loading, but a lot of guys do a big water load
No, I haven't
weigh-ins.
heard that. Yeah.
That way, you're drinking like 2 gallons of water a day, and then the day before weigh-ins, you stop drinking that, and then your body's going to reject all that water, especially if you're not eating the sodium, and you're going to push all that water out, and that's how I got a lot of guys do those big weight cuts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man. I'm gonna try what you said. I mean, this is what I'm eating entire day. I don't eat breakfast. For lunch,
Mm.
I have a small piece of like this big piece of chicken breast, and I don't have anything else. And for dinner, I have a bowl of soup. That's it. And I cannot lose the weight. Like it won't happen.
But I think you just got to give it time too. Like it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take
Yeah,
about a week for you to start seeing results, especially. But that's the thing too, man. Every time you start lowering your food intake, you're going to start getting more fatigued in practice.
Yeah.
You're not going
yeah,
to really feel like training.
yeah,
Um, that's why it's good to kind of know exactly how much you need to put in your body to keep your body running, right? Because your food is your fuel. It sucks to show up to a training camp and just be, or a training session and be completely dead. You're
yeah,
dying. You don't feel like being there. You're not motivated, but you're in the middle of cutting weight and you're hungry and you have no fuel.
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, so I think it's all about making sure you're getting the right amount of carbs, the right amount of protein, and all that good stuff. And make sure when you show up to train, you're burning off certain amounts of that too.
Thank you for the advice, man. I'm gonna put it to work. Let's see what happens. And we got 2 minutes left. We'd like to say our goodbyes. Thank you so much, Kurt, for doing this show.
Yeah,
And we
thank
haven't
you.
been doing the show for 6 months. How would you rate this show? Like the questions, us, whatever. Just how do you, out of 1 to 10, what do you rate our show?
Oh man, 10. 10. No, it's a good show, man. I appreciate you guys having me on.
Yeah.
It's always fun to come on, talk to you guys, talk to guys like you. And I love sharing the stories from the Ultimate Fighter. I feel like that's something that, I love so much. It was a fun time for me, and I love being able to share some of those stories with you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on, Kurt.
Yeah, thank you.
1 minute. If you want to say something, anything, we got 1 minute. You can say anything.
Yeah, no, I appreciate all the fans, man. I've really grown a big fan following over the last year or so. It's been absolute fun for me. I love it. Wouldn't want to do anything else. So thanks everybody for being a fan, and stay tuned, and hopefully look forward to the next fight.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you, Ollie. We'll see you guys next time. Subscribe to the channel. Follow Kurt's social media. We'll put the link down below. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Kurt. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.